And the Brisbane second rower bringing it out with the first touch of the ball. That's Fullerton Smith. And the first mistake of the game made by the Brisbane team, but returned just as quickly by North Sydney. Probably the second biggest crowd we've had to a KB Cup match at Lang Park. I think the previous best was set by Brisbane and St George back in '79, as Mark Murray is tackled about 5 metres on his side of the halfway, and coming away with it is the hooker Greg Conescu, and through tap the lock forward out to 5'8" Wally Smith. A nice break already, and there goes the second row forward charging downfield. Barry Niebling, on it goes to Mal Meninga. There's a chance on. In fact, Butler's going to score the first try. That's the first try in the KB Cup from Lang Park to Brisbane, and the home fans rejoice. And how? Wally Lewis was the man who made the bust. He took it up. He got away from Mitchell Cox. Rogers couldn't hold him. Niebling took it downfield. The infield pass to Mal Meninga. No trouble getting rid of Chris Luckman. And then, just as you would expect, his wing three-quarter backing him up. And Terry Butler picks up the first try for the Brisbane side. Here it is on the head-on.
Yes, and certainly what a great start for Brisbane, and the crowd are going wild up here. Very clever play by Wally Lewis, and also by Niebling. He picked up Mal Meninga. Meninga, as Ray said, he pushed off Luckman and drew the fullback, give a perfect pass to Butler. First points on the board to Brisbane, and what a start.
Mal Meninga attempting the first shot at goal. He's got the breeze almost blowing across the line of flight. Quite a strong breeze coming from behind the Brisbane side for the first 2 quarters. This is a difficult kick. He's 22 metres out, just a fraction further, in fact. He's almost on the touchline. And this breeze is across the line of flight. It looks good, though, doesn't it, in the air, but getting away. And so Brisbane, in the first minute of play, have opened the scoring with a try scored by wing three-quarter Terry Butler. Lewis got around Cox. Meninga got rid of Luckman. And it was a jolly good try by the home side.
Yes, and that's an area that North Sydney have to be very wary of too, because both their centres, Darren Rogers and John Adam, got up very quickly. And of course, once Lewis got around Mitchell Cox, he was able to get his pass in behind the North Sydney defence.
So the ball is played now, midway between the 22 and the halfway on the Brisbane end of the field. And so it's with Murray. Big forward running off a pivot in the shape of Mark Zillman, for whom there were some feelers out in Sydney, I believe, at the start of the year. And now Wally Lewis with that grub kick for touch, which he has perfected. Finds the line midway between the 22 and the halfway mark on the North Sydney end of the field. 4-0 in the early seconds of the game in favour of Brisbane. What a start. Lewis again. This time he's been caught by his opposite number. That's tap, the lock forward. 25 metres out. Murray. Again taking it up as Zillman. And still there just outside the North Sydney 22. Murray, Lewis, Meninga. And a long ball touched by North Sydney. Butler's gone inside the 22. Fullback to beat. He's beaten the fullback. Slithers out of another tackle, but he's grounded a metre from the line. Meninga, Murray, and a penalty. That's for holding a player not in possession of the ball against North Sydney, and a very good opportunity for Mal Meninga to increase the lead. That replay may or may not. Obviously, it didn't catch the offender. He was standing out in the centres. And apparently he went up and took a player out of the game, not in possession, and thus the penalty. This breeze is probably in the vicinity of a 6-pointer, if you can measure it that way. Crowd, I'm told, in the vicinity of 15,000. Meninga with a fairly simple shot for goal. He's brought the flags up. So Brisbane delighting the home crowd, leading 6-0. Is it possible, Keith Barnes, that there's a touch of the fear or the nerves that probably comes across some players at Lang Park on their initial visit here, running through the minds of some of the North Sydney players?
No, I don't think so. I think once you get out there and the first couple of minutes are over, you settle down and it becomes a normal game. I just think that Brisbane are playing particularly well in these opening stages. They're controlling the ball. Obviously, Lewis is going to do a fair amount of tactical kicking in this first quarter with the advantage of this good breeze, but they are looking to spin the ball out wide. They've got a lot of power and pace in the centres with Meninga and Miles, and their forwards are running wide of the ruck as well, and we know that the strength of the North Sydney side is in their forward pack, and obviously Bobby McCarthy, the Brisbane coach, has devised tactics to attempt to play the game out wide as much as possible.
There's a kick by Gene Miles coming off the outside edge of the boot and coming back down to the North Sydney halfback Bill Hedke, and away with it now is Darren Rogers, a youngster in his first season of top grade, and he made the North Sydney side through the bad luck suffered by Simon Brockwell. Penalty for inside the 5 given to the Bears, as Larry Kelly now prepares to put his side on the attack using the drop punt. He finds it about 7 metres inside the quarter. So let's see what North Sydney can do now. They're trailing by 6 points to 0. Luckman it is who takes it ahead. Put down about 10 metres from the line. 15 is Ritchie, and number 10 is Mark Graham. He's no newcomer to Lang Park. He captained the successful side here in the grand final in 1980. 14 is Peter Cross. Repeating that Peter Cross was a late inclusion in the North Sydney side. Alan Burns apparently is on the bench. Hetke, Cox, and the grub kick through. A chance here for North Sydney if they can get a hand of it, but it's been put over the dead ball line by the Brisbane winger Wayne Chalice.
Very clever little kick there too. Could have been a very dangerous situation for Brisbane, although I do feel that that the winger Chalice had plenty of opportunities to gather. But obviously very enthusiastic Brisbane defensive unit at this stage of the game.
That was a whopping drop kick from Wally Lewis, and that's a very solid tackle by Fullerton Smith.
Yes, he stood out on occasions with Brisbane before too. He's a very heavy defender that always has a good work rate.
Brisbane going in with 2 and 3 men in every tackle. But that drop kick by Wally Lewis indicates just how strong this wind is. It went 60 metres from point of contact to where it would have landed. Ritchie plays it on the 22. Out to Hetke. It's Mark Graham. And they probably will put this ball up now. Out with Cox, and there goes the bomb. It's fairly deep. Scott getting under it. He doesn't know where it is. Can North get him down? Yes, they've scored. A try scored by Fred Teasdale. Or was it John Adam? John Adam has been given the try. Fred Teasdale picked the ball up, but then he handed it to John Adam, so I take it that it was he who actually forced the ball. Let's see it again. Scott had it, then lost it, and that is John Adam indeed, and there's the try. Close to the uprights for a chance for North Sydney to level up at 6 points all.
Certainly a well-placed kick by Cox, though, but Scott's made a real mess of this one. He had plenty of time and did not even get close to it, so he misjudged it very badly. And seeing that one, I can imagine that he's going to get plenty of those throughout the evening.
John Adam, the North Sydney try scorer, and the goal kicker for the Bears is Larry Kelly. That breeze held that ball up, and it probably was doing some swirling up there, which made it difficult for the Brisbane fullback, but Kelly has converted, and 6 points all in the KB Cup, coming to you from Lang Park. Is there any more volume about? So Lewis restarts, and taken in by the try scorer John Adam, picked up by Headkey, and still the Brisbane defence going in strongly. Mark Murray making that tackle. Peter Cross, Cox, and that was a good take by Fred Teasdale. There's a punch up in the background. Involved is Johnston. And the second row forward, Fullerton Smith. The incident has gone unchecked at the moment. And now it's Mark Graham who's tackled about 10 metres on the North Sydney side of the halfway. 6 points all. Cox putting a torpedo punt over to Butler's wing. Scott is there. Takes this one safely, and then a good run, very good run. That's Gene Miles in the center of the ground, tackled inside the 22. Good run by Colin Scott. I would think silencing some of his critics, who certainly weren't happy with the way that he dropped that bomb from Mitchell Cox, and the penalty goes to Brisbane against the tackler, not getting off the ball carrier.
Yes, and he's certainly not wasting any time in those situations, the referee. It's on the set, and it'll be good if he does continue in this vein throughout the evening too, because we could be in for a very fast open game. Brisbane looking to spin the ball at every opportunity, and it was probably a little unfortunate then when Scott did make that break that he wasn't able to keep going left, because that's where the opportunity was. Once he came back to the right, turned the ball back inside to Miles, they did come back to the North Sydney defence.
Meninga now, just off centre, plenty of height, but he's missed it. Meninga failing to pick up a valuable 2 points, and the scoreline remains at 6 points all. Murray again. That's Richard Paulson. Now Murray, Lewis, and Tapper's put it down. He'll allow the advantage to run until the last available opportunity is there for North Sydney, the non-offending side, and so the scrum is to go down. This was probably to be expected. That incident went unnoticed, unchecked earlier. And I guess they decided that, well, if we can get away with that, we'll try something else. Kelly finding touch midway between the 22 and the halfway. Shepherd. Solid defence there from the Brisbane hooker, Greg Conescu. Cross. Out to Hedke, now to Cox. Cutting out two men and picking up Darren Rogers. Chris Luckman. Ring there by Meninga and taken by both Meninga and Wayne Chalice. Norths are on the 32-metre line. Cox, Adam, Kelly. And that's a nasty ball to give anyone, and it's gone into touch.
Yes, North Sydney being forced across the field, though, at the moment. They need someone in there to straighten their attack because they're playing into the Brisbane players' hands at the moment by just crabbing across the field. Looking for a little bit more involvement from Mark Graham at this early stage.
Brisbane scrum win. And a good break there made by the halfback Mark Murray. Very good run indeed. Lewis punching it up on the blind side. Scott. Olsen. Cut out pass from Mark Murray through to Wally Lewis onto Meninga. Inside the 22 and he's lost it. Dived on by Kelly. Away goes the hooker, Richie. Cross. It's Graham. Loose pass, intercepted by Murray. Inside the 22. Oh, intercepted by Norths. And that's Alan Shepherd. And he got a smack over the face. This will be a penalty for the high tackle.
That was certainly a let-off for North Sydney, though, because when Murray made that intercept off bad Mark Graham pass, it looked curtains for the Sydney Siders, because it looked as if it was a mere formality for the ball to be spun across the field with Butler having a clear under the line. But the North Sydney winger Shepherd read it pretty well and came in and saved what looked like a certain try.
There's just a section there of the crowd at Lang Park.
North Sydney under a lot of pressure at the moment, and they're making quite a few elementary mistakes.
So the touch finder crosses the line about 5 metres from the halfway line. Here's Don McKinnon taking it up. Ball lost by Cross. Murray there again. Johnny on the spot. Through to Lewis on to Miles. That's touched by North Sydney. And play on in possession of Hedke. Brisbane prepared to throw it about. They've paid the penalty a couple of times, but the scoreboard doesn't suggest that they've paid too many penalties. They're there at 6 points all at the moment.
No, certainly. They've had two opportunities now, though, because the winger on this side was clear, provided the pass had gone across the field correctly. But it was a bad pass from Gene Miles on that occasion, and another let-off for Norths.
This is McKinnon giving Luckman a run down the line, and pulled in by Wayne Chalice. Through to Hedke. Picked up there by Mark Graham, striding down the centre, looking in vain for support as he reaches the 32-metre line. John Adam now dummy half, but Graham taps it ahead. That's 5 gone. They'll probably use the bomb again. Out to Mitchell Cox. And he's fired it off to the flankers going through on the left. Lewis has put it down behind him. And the referee says play on with Brisbane in possession. That man is Chalice. penalty inside the 5 against the Bears. Let's check the scrums and penalties at this stage. The penalties have gone equally, 3-3. The scrums, however, have gone to Brisbane, 3-0. In fact, their first try came from a scrum won against the feed. Paulson takes it up. As Bob McCarthy said, he's a workhorse, this fellow. And now Zillman, very clever with his hands, I'm told. Could make up into a good ball player. This is Brian Niebling. We've seen a lot of him before. And he plays it tough. 30 metres out from the North Sydney line. That's the lock forward tap. Murray, Lewis, Scott. Lewis, he's going to try out the North Sydney defence under the bomb now. They're all onside Brisbane, and Chris Luckman has put it down. Picked up quickly, flyers on, and Chalice is in to score. Chalice has gone in to score, but I'm wondering whether Chris Luckman wasn't held off the ball. Let's have a look at the replay. The bomb from Wally Lewis. Scoreline 10 points to 6 in favour of Brisbane. I just want to see what happens to Chris Luckman, the blonde-headed North Sydney winger, number 5. He's the player to watch. All onside, no question about that. The bounce goes backwards. And that was the incident I was looking for, but the try has been posted. Scored by Chalice, and Brisbane go to a 10 points to 6 lead.
Yes, pretty simple try as far as Brisbane were concerned. The opportunity was there, of course, when Norths failed to cover this high bomb from Wally Lewis. Certainly, I felt that Luckman was impeded marginally. And possibly the referee could have interpreted it a different way, but Brisbane grabbed the opportunity, and Chalice, of course, have gone in to give them a very handy lead.
Mal Meninga now raises the flags, so Brisbane go further in front. They lead by 12 points to 6 now. 2 from 4 for Mal Meninga. Brisbane 12, North Sydney 6. Smith. Murray. Niebling. That's Zillman. He's lost it. And a penalty for stealing the ball. Dying seconds of the first quarter. 2 tries to the home side. 1 to North Sydney.
And certainly in this opening 20 minutes, Brisbane looking by far the better side. They've got a 2-try-to-1 advantage, but they've created many more scoring opportunities than North Sydney, and I should imagine that Johnny Hayes, the North Sydney coach, would be pretty worried at this stage, because his defence has got plenty of problems with this lively Brisbane attack.
Bomb put up by Wally Lewis, knowing the time. Alan Shepherd takes it, and that's the end of the first quarter, with Brisbane going to the break, leading by 12 points to 6. And it's welcome back to the second quarter. With Brisbane leading by 12 points to 6, we get underway for the second stanza. Penalties at the end of 20 minutes went to Brisbane 4-3. The scrums went to Brisbane 3-0. And there's another penalty against North Sydney for being inside the 5.
We keep talking, Ray, about the third quarter being the vital quarter. I think tonight that the second quarter is going to be the vital one, particularly as far as North Sydney is concerned, because Brisbane, running with the advantage of this fairly stiff breeze, are going to be looking to camp themselves down into North Sydney's territory. And the way they're attacking at the moment, if Norths haven't tightened their defence, Brisbane could take a pretty firm grip on the game in this second quarter. So as far as Norths are concerned, I think the next 20 minutes could determine their chances in the final outcome of tonight's match.
Richard Paulson playing in the number 13 jumper, taking it up and about to play it now. 30 metres out. Zillman. And it's Brian Niebling now, asked to play the ball just inside the 22. Fullerton Smith, 10 metres out. Brisbane very quickly into an attacking region. A long pass by Wally Lewis, further indicating that Bobby McCarthy would like them to play it wide, settling it for 3, and then the quick spin out wide. It's with Hedke out of Mitchell Cox, but the defence coming up very Lewis, the tackler. Murray, short ball for Niebling. This man is tapped. 6 more tackles. Through Lewis, long ball, that'll go into touch. No, Butler's got it covered and tackled back on the 32-metre line. Yes,
I couldn't see much advantage there because he had a one-man overlap without resorting to the real long looping pass that hasn't come off on 2 occasions, but they are looking to play the game wide.
Short ball from Murray to Fullerton Smith. Now it's with Niebling. Just outside the quarter. Conescu. And that's the turnover, first of the match. Johnston. And a penalty inside the 5 against the Brisbane side. Well, he's certainly working overtime on the 5 metres. That's the 3rd or 4th. And Larry Kelly has failed to find touch, has he? I think the Brisbane player might have got a touch. Colin Scott. Touch judge says no. Apparently the touch judge indicated that he had his feet on the line. Cross. Mark Graham within 2 metres of the line. If he had have looked on the outside, there was a player unchecked. North's 2 metres out. Hedke stepping and now held with the line in his sights. Just a few metres upfield from Ritchie. Out to Adam. 5 tackles gone against the Bears. They're trailing by 12-6. Mitchell Cox gets the bomb in. I'm wondering whether a couple of his teammates are onside. Referee doesn't think they were either, and the penalty goes to Brisbane.
Well, it was a very clever break by Mark Graham, though. He was lurking behind the ruck, and apparently it certainly didn't appear as if he was going to take any interest in the play. And then a very clever pass back in field found the opening. It was unfortunate for Norths that he looked right, and Teasdale was backing him up on his left.
No dispute about that, in my opinion. The North Sydney followers were in front of Mitchell Cox when he put it up. Conescu turning it back in field. And the break made by Brian Niebling. Murray coming back towards the blind side. Chunky little fellow. Scott. Out to Lewis and on to Meninga. And a switch around the back door there for Miles. And Gene Miles to play it in centre field on the halfway. Lewis will probably look for the line here. He does his kick and it bounces just as though he's ready on the string. Crosses the touchline. 18 metres away from the North Sydney line.
Complete footballer, Wally Lewis, isn't he? He's a general in attack. He's a very good defensive player and he's got a great kicking game. And Brisbane fans, of course, have been rapping this fella for many years now, and it's only in the last couple that he's really shown the form to Sydney viewers that he's credited with up here.
Lewis. Ball played by the lock forward, tap but dropped. Stolen from him is the ruling. And another penalty goes to Brisbane within easy kicking range for Mal Meninga. Only 18 metres out, almost in front, and the breeze right behind him. Here's the incident on replay. And it's just that little rake of the ball that's become very prominent in rugby league.
Yes, and I think they'll go out of the game pretty quickly too if referees do penalise players in similar situations to what Grant Michelle did out there this evening.
Don McKinnon, the offender. Pretty dicey place on the field to be trying something like that.
It's a certain, well, it should be a certain 2 points, shouldn't it?
So Meninga pilots it successfully between the uprights, and Brisbane lead by 14 points to 6 now. You're watching the KB Cup tonight, coming to you from Lang Park in Brisbane. Next week we return to Leichhardt for another second round match, this time between combined New South Wales Country and South Sydney. Sunday night on Channel 10 we'll have for you the Rank Arena replay of Parramatta and St George, while here in Brisbane, Channel O will be replaying the match between Wests and Wynnum Manly. Conescu is the dummy half. This is Paulson. Was a good ball there by Zillman.
Certainly was a good ball, and there's a lot more drive and purpose in the Brisbane pack of forwards than there is in their counterparts North Sydney. Here's another chance too.
There's Butler running off Meninga. He's wrapping it up, Butler, and he's held on, taking it down for Lewis to pop it back, and Brisbane are storming downfield. This could be a golden try if Chalice goes in, gets it back over the top, picked up on the bounce there by Tapp. And that was a great run made by Brisbane. Started by Meninga. The winger on the left flank handled, and then it came right back over to the winger on the right flank. It's out with Colin Scott. Got a ball down to Mark Murray. That's a good pass. I think it was knocked on, however. It was.
There's certainly a lot of flair in this Brisbane attack, though, and whenever anyone looks like making a break, the supports come to back him up, and of course that's indicative of a good team, and Brisbane playing great football up here this evening.
Hetke. Darren Rogers. Tackled by Gene Miles. John Adam. Brought down by Lewis and Meninga. Don McKinnon. Chris Luckman. Headkey. Cox. Cross. And Brisbane, I think, have got the ball. Murray. Cornescu. He's over. Greg Cornescu is in for Brisbane's third try. Cornescu, realising there was a gap, took off from dummy half. Norths with one forward out of the play. That was him getting up. Peter Cross in the background. And then a little jink. And Greg Cornescu in to score.
Yeah, certainly one forward out of the play, but the rest of them just stood off and let Cornescu straight through the middle of the ruck there. And they only have themselves to blame for that particular try. They were pressured into a mistake a couple of minutes earlier just inside their quarter, which enabled Brisbane to get possession, and Brisbane taking control in this second quarter. And I feel that I felt coming up into this vital 20 minutes that if Norths were going to stay into the game, they had to contain Brisbane in that 20 minutes, and they haven't been able to do that. 18 points to 6 with a kick coming up.
Mal Meninga. And Wally Lewis is back there, still reminding them that it's a game played over 80 minutes. And though that scoreboard looks nice at 18 points to 6, we must not relax. As Meninga fires off the conversion attempt, it's successful. And so Brisbane race to a commanding lead of 20 points to 6.
That really gives the superiority of Brisbane up here this evening, because they are playing very entertaining football. They're controlling the ball pretty well. They're getting into position very quickly when they have the ball to attack, giving themselves plenty of depth in attack. And then when they're in defensive situations, they also get in there very quickly and plugging any likely gaps. And it's only been on one or two occasions that North Sydney have been able to find any and make any real yardage.
So a simple knock on there by Tapp, the Brisbane block forward. And he not only knocked it on, but he had the dickens of a job trying to get back in touch with it to prevent North from coming up with possession. And this penalty, a differential for feet across against Greg Cornescu. Penalties read out at 7-5 to Brisbane, and they've won the scrums 4-1. Larry Kelly finds touch, only about 13 metres out from the line. Chris Luckman. Dummy half is Phil Ritchie. Lindsay Johnson running as a decoy. Mark Graham goes the open side in number 10. Now Mitchell Cox will be looking for it, I would think, on the next play the ball. Lindsay Johnston swarmed upon by the Brisbane defenders. One of them has hurt himself. It's gone out to Headkey. Steps up his right foot, beats one man, gets around a second, but he's tackled on the 10-metre line. Zillman, the front rower for Brisbane, was down injured. He's on his feet now, though, as it goes out to Mitchell Cox. And a long ball, beautiful ball, out to John Adam, away from Meninga. But the defence coming across in cover. Last tackle now for the North Sydney Bears. The bomb goes up from Mitchell Cox. It's a good kick, too, as they come through for it. And I do believe that North Sydney have picked up their second try off the bomb, scored by Mark Graham. Mark Graham, the try scorer. Cox with a beautiful bomb. The Brisbane defence had to contend with the uprights and the converging North Sydney attack. And it was that simple in the final analysis for Mark Graham.
Yes, it certainly was, and Beijing Norths needed that too. This is the opportunity to get to 20 points to 12 with 7 minutes remaining in this quarter. The only time they've really looked dangerous has been the twice that they've put the bombs up. Very well placed kicks by Mitchell Cox, and it was a formality then when it was right underneath the sticks and Graham took it.
Larry Kelly from right in front should have little trouble with this. 20 points to 10 currently. And no doubts. So the score now 22 points to 12. 20 points to 12, I should say, in favour of Brisbane over North Sydney. Magnificent rugby league arena is Lang Park. Certainly built for the game. And it's almost impossible not to get a good vantage point as Larry Kelly comes out. Getting across the ground, though. A lot of these North Sydney players are going across the ground and making themselves fairly easy targets. It's Darren Rogers. Ritchie. Tackle on the 22. Johnston. Graham. And a chance for Brisbane here. Tap the lock forward, picking up the loose ball off Mark Graham. Brian Niebling. Murray, Cornescu, Gene Miles. That's Murray. Taking it up as Paulson. Following him through was Fullerton Smith. And he's the man playing it 10 metres out from the North Sydney line. Lewis. Run around on the dummy. And he spins and tries to offload. Got a ball away eventually to Colin Scott. Scott still able to get the ball away. And Brisbane within 2 metres of the line now. Mainly due to the credentials of this man Lewis, firing a pass out to Gene Miles. On it goes to Wayne Chalice. Chalice tackled, got a pass inside, and it's gone into touch. 5 metre scrum will be packed down.
North Sydney certainly having a lot of trouble containing the ball carrier. They're not able to put the man in possession to the ground, and Brisbane, of course, they're giving themselves plenty of depth in attack, and this is a very welcome penalty to North Sydney.
For not packing it down on the mark. They're also having trouble, Keith, with the expertise of Wally Lewis. They're not quite sure what he's doing.
No, he's a brilliant player, and certainly he's got that long looping pass which went astray on a couple of occasions, but invariably he finds the mark. And as I said earlier, and as you said earlier too, they are looking to play the game out as wide as possible with the likes of Meninga and Miles and 2 good wingers.
Ball being played by Cross. This is Johnston. Actually, I think he's been more involved than his more illustrious front row partner, Don McKinnon. This is McKinnon now, but I would have thought that it was up to players like him to show North the way out of this, yes, if there is a way out of it.
Well, I think the same thing applies too to Mark Graham, because he hasn't been as involved as much as we usually see him, and on the few occasions that he has, he's made mistakes, but Brisbane back in possession and on the attack again.
Gene Miles.
They're certainly forcing North Sydney into a lot of errors, aren't they?
This is tapped almost right through.
Gee, and he had Fullerton Smith on his outside again.
Murray. Short ball for Niebling, and a good tackle by Ritchie. Murray again, keeping up the wrap to the right. Paulson, he's worked hard. Murray, here comes Zillman up on the left, but Murray takes the tackle, gets it off to Cornescu. That's the 5th tackle for Brisbane. They'll probably put it up now. There it is. Wally Lewis going through, putting them all onside, and it's been taken by Larry Kelly and taken superbly. That was a great take under extreme pressure. The bomb by Lewis, he sped through, he being the only player who can put a player offside, in fact onside, and then Larry Kelly only really took it on his fingertips, but he
actually took it out of Meninga's hands, didn't he?
Yes. So North's trailing by 20 points to 12. We're inside the last 2 minutes of the second quarter. John Gray is sitting on the bench. I would expect that John Hayes will throw him into the game at half-time. Cox getting a kick in that he'd remember very well from his rugby union days, I would think. And then a mistake by Scott. Butler has gone into dummy half. Out to Lewis. Now to Miles. Back to Lewis. Out to Murray. Short ball to Fullerton Smith.
He's a good team player, Mark Murray, and you know, there was a lot of criticism of his selection on the Kangaroo Tour, but he played well over there, and we've seen him play well here.
There's a try coming up. Wally Lewis has found Chalice, and Chalice has picked up his second try. Well, North have paid the penalty of raking for possession in the play the ball. Lewis playing to the whistle, snapped up an opportunity. And then I thought he'd bombed it actually. Greg Cornescu was on his inside, but he ran to the other side, and then he was lucky enough, or maybe through his own great form, was able to pick up Wayne Chalice. You'll see it again here, the entire incident. The ball was played by Fullerton Smith, raked back by Johnston. And John Adam couldn't take it. Lewis simply followed the ball, and then he took off. There's Cornescu, unmarked. You'd think he would have scored for sure. And Lewis came back and found this man, Wayne Chalice, taking Brisbane to a 24 points to 12 lead.
Yes, it certainly was. I think you summed it up perfectly too, because North Sydney very slow to cover, then recover when the ball was raked back. And as Ray said, and there Meninga kicks the goal, but as Ray said, Lewis looked as if the try was on the left-hand side, and he attempted to beat Kelly, which he did. If Kelly had made the tackle, well, then the try, I'm sure, wouldn't have eventuated. But that was the real break that Brisbane were looking for, and I felt that up until that stage, Norths had done pretty well to contain them to an 8-point advantage coming up to half-time. But with only 31 seconds to go, they now trail by 14 points, 26 points to 12.
Yes, and there was the try from another angle. And there's just absolutely no doubt about it being a try. And full marks to Wally Lewis for continuing to play on. This is Chalice. Into the centre, into a gap, over the halfway. Finds a runner inside. That's the lock forward, John Tapp. Up to the 22, can he get a pass away? Taken by the defence, just outside the 22. The siren sound. Meninga puts the chip over the top. Meninga going through with Larry Kelly. Oh, God, I think it's outside the dead ball line. Yes, it is. No try with Larry Kelly. He didn't really know much about it. This will come up on the head-on and show you just how close Mal Meninga went to scoring a try, as Larry Kelly made a complete mess of it. And though it didn't come up very clearly there, the dead ball line itself, it certainly was over the line. But Brisbane have gone to half-time, completely outplaying North Sydney, 26 to 12. The Bears have scored 2 tries, both off bombs, but most of the Brisbane tries have come from simply good football. We'll be back in just a minute. Forwards standing out in the backs, and this defence is coming up very quickly. Adam, Johnston. Lewis. Paulson. Murray. Zillman. Murray again. Miles, Murray. Last tackle now for Brisbane. Wally Lewis, the man to watch. There he is. And his bomb is a pretty good one. The big men fly, and it's come down to Brisbane. He's given 6 more tackles. And they're on the attack. The home side, 8 metres out from the line, Gene Miles. Very close to the line. Conescu sweeping it out through Paulson. Taken on the bounce by Wally Lewis. Away from one, back on the inside is Tapp. And Tapp is in to score. Brisbane go to 30 points to 12. Beautiful inside pass from Wally. This pass from Paulson was taken on the bounce by Wally Lewis. Then he got inside Cox and then found inside Tapp backing up. And John Tapp has scored for the Brisbane side.
Yes, and it was their inclination to keep throwing the ball out wide that led to this try. Scooped up by Lewis, got inside Mitchell Cox very easily. When covered by Mark Graham, picked up Tapp on the inside. Top football, very purposeful, and you know, they carried on from where they left off in the first 40 minutes.
Well, there's no doubt who's come out on top in this 5/8 duel tonight. That's the second time Mitchell has missed Wally Lewis. As Meninga converts the try, Brisbane race to a 32 points to 12 lead. 20-point margin. It was 6 from 8. So North Sydney are sending a replacement into the game. Kevin Wilson is coming on, and Bill Hedke, the halfback, has been replaced. There's the replacement, Kevin Wilson. Scott. Lewis, Meninga, and there goes Butler. Into touch, 10 metres on the North Sydney side of the halfway. But that combination, or that trio of Lewis, Meninga and Butler, they had a top 40 minutes on the far side of the ground, and that was that combination again. As Brisbane win the scrum, Lewis gets a pass to Meninga. That's a good ball out to Wayne Chalice. Tackled just outside the 22. North Sydney's inside centre is coming up very fast, and Lewis is getting inside him. Murray. Meninga. Out to Butler. Butler's heading for the corner. Inside pass for Scott. Back it goes to Larry Kelly. It's a very well-drilled Brisbane side. They're throwing it about. The backs are getting out wide and deep. And they're prepared to take chances, prepared to let the ball do the work. And they're stretching North Sydney to the outer limits. Shepherd. Last tackle for North. Mitchell Cox. Sending it down to Brisbane fullback Colin Scott. Miles. Fullerton Smith. Conescu. Zillman. Murray. Lewis. Meninga. Miles. Meninga. Coming over to Butler's wing. What a fend. What a fend. He got rid of Mitchell Cox easily. Got rid of 2 more. And another one. How strong is this man?
displaying that unbelievable power.
Yes, he's certainly got one of the best fends that I've ever seen. The ease with which he keeps players away from him, and it's clearly illustrated in this one. He gets rid of Mitchell Cox very, very easily. And certainly, I thought he was going to pick up Butler on the outside here when he just went that one too far, I felt. And Adams just hung on, didn't he? Or was it Rogers? But he's very, very strong, Meninga.
Murray. Lewis. Paulson. That's got to be a Shepherd. How would you like to be the outside centre and wing three-quarter lining Mal Meninga and Eric Groth?
Yes, well, a few of the bombs found out, didn't they? But, I think he's come back a much better player, Meninga. This is the best performance I've seen him turn on in any of these KB Cup matches. And both he and Lewis, of course, they've got such a good understanding now, and they're really carving North Sydney up, the pair of them.
Lewis has been able to get inside that defence that North Sydney is trying to put up quickly, in particular the centres, and Lewis is getting behind them so easily.
Yes, well, of course, the centres are very conscious that they can't afford to give Miles and Meninga any yardage whatsoever, and when you've got a 5'8" of Lewis's calibre, well, he's able to capitalise on it.
Scrum count at the moment, 6-1 to Brisbane, and they've won 4 of those scrums against the feed. Very important statistic, that. Penalty to Norths.
What I like about Brisbane, though, is the depth that they've given themselves in attack, and they've given themselves as much yardage as possible with which to work their moves, and they are backing each other up at every opportunity.
Don't forget
they're a very enthusiastic side.
Don't forget the Big League magazine is out as of tomorrow, and at the premiership matches this weekend. And this week's issue features an 8-page souvenir of the City Country match, including coloured pictures of a host of stars. North Sydney 5 metres out from the line with Chris Luckman playing well, he was going to play the ball, but it's a penalty to Norths against Greg Conescu. $32 points to 12. As we see the incident where Chris Luckman was trying to get up and play it and then lost it. And the referee must have penalised Conescu for not releasing the tackled player, because there's no doubt in my mind that Luckman dropped the ball himself. Originally, I thought that was the reason for the penalty. Well, there's a perfect example of a player going across the ground and being picked off by the defence and forced backwards. Peter Cross. Graham. McKinnon. Cox. And a rehearsed move from North Sydney that they've worked on quite a bit. I've seen it come off a couple of times, but that time it was almost an embarrassment. Lewis getting a pass back for Niebling to give it on to Paulson. 10 metres short of the halfway line. Murray. Zillman. Murray again. Now Norths have a replacement on. That's him with the ball, Nigel Tate. Darren Rogers is off, and Nigel Tate is the man on in number 16 jumper. Graham. Well, Brisbane have seen to it that not one of the North Sydney players has been able to star. They've got several star players, but none of them have been able to shine. Every time they've looked like doing something, there's been 2 and 3 Brisbane players there to knock them over. And here's another North Sydney mistake, forcing a scrum. 12 metres on the Brisbane side of halfway, with the Brisbane team 6 minutes from three-quarter time, leading by 32 points to 12. That's Chalice. Right on halfway. Murray, Lewis, Miles, Meninga. Gets rid of another one and then barges his way through the forwards. You can't help but like this fellow, Mal Meninga. When he's in this mood, he's almost unstoppable. But this is the fellow that I believe has carved out this Brisbane victory, which I'm sure it's going to be. Wally Lewis. He's been the architect. 5 tackles gone for the home side. Out to Lewis. A long pass. What a beautiful pass. Out to Chalice, who juggled momentarily and has tackled. That'll be a turnover. Midway 22 halfway. North Sydney's end of the field. McKinnon, Wilson, penalty inside the 5 against Brisbane. John Gray has taken the field for the Bears. Phil Ritchie is still on the ground. So it would seem that Peter Cross has been replaced. North Sydney just 5 metres out from the line with McKinnon playing it. Johnston has put it down and Brisbane come away with it. That's Fullerton Smith.
It'll certainly be a long time since North Sydney have made so many handling errors or be forced into handling errors the way they have this evening.
Well, this is a penalty. The lock forward tap has been felled in the back play. Here's the replay of it. Lindsay Johnston, the man. And what is that indication? Is that sin bin or off?
No, I think he sin binned him for 5 minutes, I thought.
Well, I don't know what it was, to be quite frank with you, Keith. I'm more concerned for this fellow, John Tapp, on the ground at the moment. He's had a good game for Brisbane. No doubt about it. It was a high tackle. And more importantly, on a player not in possession. But the referee's indication has got me a bit baffled. If he was on a race course, he'd get pinched for tic-tacking. So the ball being played by Paulson. This is Zillman, and he's on the halfway line. So the Bears are down to 12 men. Niebling. Lewis. There he goes again, creating his own magic. That's Colin Scott. Support all over the shop. John Tapp is tackled 3 metres out from the line. Everywhere the ball is, this man is. And there goes Mark Murray, barging over the line. No try. Unable to ground it. Let's see it on the head-on. Well, I'm not sure where that line is. He certainly fell short of the line, but then a little bit of momentum. Well, he's ruled a double movement. His first indication to me was quite distinct that he failed to ground it, but now he's given the penalty for a double movement. And the head-on replay actually showed that. So, there's the famous Brisbane chant. As Don McKinnon prepares to play. Wilson, Gray, Cox. Look at this defence, though. It's standing right up and blotting anything that North Sydney tries completely out of their minds. Adam. Been running into a brick wall all night.
Yes, they have, and the Brisbane forwards have completely dominated the game and got right on top of a North Sydney side that was expected to get on top through their big, powerful forwards, but they've certainly been outclassed out there this evening.
Cox firing off a touch finder, a good one too. Crosses the line, 26 metres up from the Brisbane line. You know, watching this match tonight, it's been flashing through my mind the thought of our game becoming more national, if I can use that word rather loosely, national. But certainly the thoughts must be there for the future of enveloping more teams into a national league. And Brisbane has shown tonight that they're certainly well and truly up to it. Don't forget, North Sydney are just on the border of the top 5 in Sydney, and they're trailing 32 points to 12. I'm not quite sure how the exercise would work, but it certainly must be given some consideration, if not now, in the near future. North now with the penalty being taken, the tap, the bomb by Kelly, seconds remaining in the third quarter, and beautifully taken by Gene Miles and forced for a line dropout. Very seldom you see a side kick on the first, but this was self-explanatory. The timepiece was showing 25 seconds to go as the siren sounds now. The line dropout by Wally Lewis. Alan Shepherd has the unenviable task of taking it back. And it's been taken safely by Robert Paulson, or Richard Paulson, I should say. That's the end of the third quarter. Brisbane leading by 32 points to 12. With Brisbane holding a commanding lead of 32 points to 12. They've outplayed North Sydney right across the field. The scrum count hasn't helped North Sydney. They're down 7-1. The penalties have gone to North's 11-10, but as I pointed out earlier, 4 of those scrum wins from Brisbane have been against the feed. So before we start running looking for excuses, and I'm certainly not, I've been here, seen the game, and quite convinced that Brisbane has been by far and away the better side. This has been a good effort by Brisbane to lead by 32 points to 12. And they're going to give this KB Cup in 1983 one hell of a shake. They've been to the final once before. That was back in '79 when they went down in the final to Cronulla Sutherland. But this is a much better side in 1983. I would love to see how many people Lang Park would hold if a quarter-final happened to be between Brisbane and Manly. Oh boy.
They'd certainly take it, wouldn't they?
5, the inside the 5 ruling has been used again, and the penalty goes to Brisbane. They're taking the kick. And there he is, Mal Meninga. A Goliath of a centre. A reminder that the 1983 Singapore Airlines superstar will win a wonderful 3-week holiday for 2 to Europe, flying with Singapore Airlines, and on the ground he's looked after by Bench International and their grand tour of Europe with Marvel Tours. You've been with Marvel Tours, haven't you, Keith?
No, I haven't, Ray.
They're very good. And while he's in London, the superstar will stay at the Churchill Hotel. You've stayed there, haven't you, Keith?
Yes, many times.
It's very good, isn't it?
Yes, excellent.
Okay, here's Mal Meninga taking the kick at goal now. And he's given it plenty of height and plenty of length, but it's just offline. As it's brought back into the field of play by Larry Kelly, who came to Norths a couple of years back now from the Murrumbidgee area. Played some Australian rules. Now, Norths have made a couple of changes, or at least one change. That man who just played the ball, Nigel Tate, you saw him come on late in the third quarter. In fact, I think that was about the last of their changes. But Brisbane has made a couple, which I'll point out as the respective players come on your screen. One of them is in there as second marker. Gavin Jones, you'll see him in jumper number 15. In fact, Gavin Jones for Brisbane is the only change, with Tapp, the lock forward who played so well, back on the bench. Here's Butler. He's played well. He's done everything asked of him. And a tiny knock on. Penalty. Incorrect feed of the ball by Wilson. I should point out that there's a redraw in the Cup of 83 when we get down to the quarterfinals. So I'm unable to tell you who Brisbane go on to play at this stage. Tackled is Richard Paulson. Murray. And that is Fullerton Smith. Penalty. A punch went in. Now Meninga may opt here to kick for touch. In fact, his captain has told him to kick for touch. Zillman. Murray. And now Fullerton Smith. Murray again. Darting in there looking for an opening. He's taken play 5 metres out from the line. Wally Lewis, Mal Meninga, the run around. Oh, and a flick pass and a beautiful piece of football. Miles. Meninga, he might even score from there. Over the line, held up and told to play it on number 5. Murray, grub kick through. Kelly has dived on it, and it'll be a line dropout. Little grub kick through by the halfback, and Kelly safe in defence that time.
And he certainly proved a very effective link out there this evening, Mark Murray. Very competent player, not endowed with a great deal of pace, but a good thinker, good control in all facets of the game, and he's been a very effective link with Wally Lewis.
Scott. Just that one mistake that he made early in the match when he allowed a try off a bomb. Other than that, he's played well, Colin Scott. Meninga now. Must be a front runner for the Man of the Match award. Lewis. Miles. Good pass. Scott. And into touch. 7 metres out from the line. Repeating earlier tonight, Manly gave Queensland Country a thorough thrashing, 78 points to 4. Kelly. It's John Gray, who's playing in the front row. Richie. Fred Teasdale. Wilson. Gray. And that's Lindsay Johnson. So obviously it was the sin bin for that man. Cox. Wayne Chalice. Dave Moffat is on for Brisbane in jumper number 16. Jones going up and making the tackle. Moffat eventually completing the tackle on Fred Teasdale. Now who's off for the Brisbane side?
I think it's Fullerton Smith.
Fullerton Smith replaced by Dave Moffat.
Had a strong game too. Each time we've been up here, he's given consistent performances and got through a lot of work. Took the ball up strongly all night. Had a good fine game.
I don't think one of these people at the ground tonight has left. Meninga. Mark Graham coming up with the loose ball. Why would they leave? Their side has been in brilliant form. McKinnon slammed to the ground by Meninga. Cox cutting out Johnson, out to Gray, now to Adam. That man is Nigel Tate. Brisbane just as enthusiastic as they were when they kicked off some 70 minutes ago. Against North for not packing in the correct manner.
It's a complete change around as far as Brisbane's concerned. Niebling's gone off. Wally Lewis has gone into the lock forward spot and Miles into 5'8". I think Brett French has come into the centre.
Lewis cuts out French and picks up Meninga, takes the tackle and picks up Scott. Murray, Lewis, Gene Miles. He's had plenty of work to do tonight, and a couple of times he's got that pass in field. And this is a penalty to North for offside. Kelly's kick is not going to find touch.
It's been a shocking performance from North Sydney. The handling has been dreadful. They've been very ineffective with their defence and the elementary mistakes like that. It's been a long time since North Sydney have, I think, put in such a bad performance. And their coach, obviously, Johnny Hayes, would be very disappointed.
Maybe that's so, Keith, but then again, sometimes bad performances are brought about by good performances from your opponents. As Paulson goes downfield, the pass was thrown deliberately forward. It's a penalty to North Sydney.
Yes, I would say that is the real reason behind North Sydney's performance this evening. And they've been completely outplayed, completely dominated in all facets of the game, and it's been an object lesson to any side. I think the way Brisbane have gone about destroying North Sydney, but you know, we're talking about handling errors which have been forced and unforced. And then, of course, we've seen Kelly miss the line, which is elementary football mistakes. But certainly a top performance from Brisbane.
So Ritchie takes the tap. Wilson, short ball for Johnston. And that's Ritchie giving it to Luckman. And Chris Luckman to play it 30 metres out from the line. Wilson. Cox, Adam, John Adam, up to the 22 line. Long ball out to Alan Shepherd. The run around there for the fullback Kelly, and he's tackled about 5 metres out. Mark Graham has gone to dummy half. Out to John Adam, now to Don McKinnon. Flick pass back for Nigel Tate. Gray. Cox. Beautifully tackled out there. One-on-one. Lewis making the tackle. Bomb by Wilson. And he's given 6 more tackles to the Bears. 7 metres from the line. Johnston. Ritchie. And he's going to put a scrum down with Ritchie losing the ball. So Bob McCarthy has made his final change. Brian Walsh has come onto the wing, and Wayne Chalice has retired from the match. Lewis, chip ahead, and regained by Meninga. Butler's on his outside. There's a player between Meninga and the intended ball carrier. This man, Butler, back into centre ground, finds Lewis. He now finds Paulson. Paulson's got 20 metres to go. A long ball. It's gone on out to Smith, and he's lost it. And coming up with it is Shepherd for North Sydney. Spectacular stuff.
Yes, it was spectacular, but I think elementary football then from Meninga would have probably sent Butler in on the left-hand corner.
Johnston. Cox. Adam. Graham. Mark Graham. A bust down the centre. Up to the halfway. Gives it to John Adam. Cover is coming across. They should score. Graham calling him inside. Luckman goes inside. He'll score under the post. A 70-metre try by the Bears. But the bird has well and truly flown for them. It started back on their own 22 line, with Mitchell Cox giving it back into the centre. Quick ball by Adam to Graham, and Graham strode clear of the defence to the halfway, looking around to see that he was giving it the right way. John Adam, they seem to have a heap of time to do it. He found Mark Graham, who handled twice in the try, called Chris Luckman inside, and Luckman in to make the score. Brisbane 32, North Sydney 16. Just under 5 minutes of the match remaining. Larry Kelly taking the conversion attempt successfully. 32 points to 18. This was how the try would have looked had you have been sitting behind the Brisbane uprights.
Good break by Mark Graham. He's been particularly quiet this evening, well contained by the Brisbane forwards, but on that occasion he did find the gap. Adams picked him up, and Graham did well too to back up and get involved in the second time. Good inside pass to Luckman, and a good try actually to North Sydney.
From the restart, the ball has gone into touch, and a scrum is to pack down about 30 metres out from the North Sydney line. Fed by Wilson, won by Norths, out to Cox. A cut-out pass. That's a bit dangerous, that one. Nigel Tate having to fall on it. Although I guess at this stage of the night, nothing's dangerous when you're trailing by 14 points with just 4 minutes to go. This is Cox. And knocked on by Shepherd. 52 points to 18. As Gene Miles gets a one-hander, Mark Murray will go in and score this time. No, I think he's got him again for another. Yes, he's given the try this time. Try has been awarded. I must admit that a couple of the refereeing signals that this man has given has had, I'm pretty sure, a lot of people confused. Mark Murray looks up at him and says, "Is this a try, sir?" And this time, referee Gomez Hall has given the try. 36 points to 18. (9-2) the scrums to Brisbane. 14-13 the penalties also to Brisbane. That was a well-deserved try by Mark Murray. He's worked very hard. He's linked the backs and the forwards effectively, realizing as Mal Meninga converts the try scored by Murray and takes the score to 38 points to 18, realizing that Wally Lewis is the engineer. He's the man who's got to get the ball quickly. The quicker you can get it to Lewis, the more chance there is of the Meningas and Miles doing their thing. That ball hasn't gone 10 metres. It's a penalty to Brisbane. Well, there again is an elementary mistake made by the Bears, but when you're trailing by so far, you must use the shallow kick-off. But it's probably even too late for that now. In fact, not probably, it is. Paulson plays it. Lewis calling players around him, switching the point of the attack, picking up Murray. Murray takes it to within 30 metres of the line. 38-18. Miles. Oh, Scott has gone through a fragile line of defence, not held, gets up, and he's over the line. I think it's a try. What's the referee going to say? No, he's real double movement, I do believe. He's given the penalty to North. It must have been a double movement. It's happened in the furthest corner from us. Well, he wasn't held there. And the arm carrying the ball didn't come in contact with the ground, so to me it's a fair try. The interference suffered by the North Sydney defender, I doubt that had anything to do with Colin Scott and his ability or inability to score the try, but the arm carrying the ball did not come in contact with the ground. And whilst he's able to keep that arm elevated, he's entitled to crawl along the entire length of the ground and score. So, in my opinion, that was a fair try, scored by Colin Scott. It's probably irrelevant. Shepherd now is tackled, or was tackled, and is now just outside the 22. Cox. Wilson. Gray. Graham, quick hands to McKinnon. On to Chris Luckman. Murray's across in cover. Oh, what a good tackle, wasn't it? Wasn't it a good tackle? Ball and all. Here's a good tackle by a little man, Mark Murray. And I've got you all tied up. Just 30 seconds remaining as Brisbane win what will be the last scrum of the match. Knock on by Lewis, but he was still prepared to try the flick pass, knowing that somebody would be there, because there always has been tonight somebody prepared to back up the ball carrier. Thoroughly impressive win here by Brisbane tonight. One suggesting that they will be a big threat in the KB Cup of 1983. Siren sounding as Brisbane come up with the ball. The kids have taken to the field as the referee calls, that's enough. Brisbane 38 have defeated North Sydney 18